Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, How to Drive Sales Through Great Email Content. We're going to be getting started in just a moment. We're excited that you're all here today and cannot wait to dive into this amazing content. We have an amazing speaker that is going to be diving into some great ways that email revenue, email can increase drive sales as well. So I'm really excited for us today and excited to be here and hope you are all having a good Tuesday.
Okay. So, am I starting?
We get started in just a moment.
Okay.
Gonna give some people some time to get into the room. All right. And again, thank you all for attending the webinar today. Let us know your name, your business, where you're from as well, and also what you're excited about learning in today's webinar today too. And again, happy Tuesday. Hi, Valeria. She's in the room today. We're excited. Thank you so much again. My name is Jeffrey, your webinar host today, and we have our amazing speaker, Basale, in the room today as well, how to drive sales through great email content. This webinar is going to be jam-packed with a lot of great learnings, a lot of great examples. I'm excited. I had a little preview of the webinar not too long ago, so I'm very excited to hear the whole thing throughout and excited to see how to drive sales through great email content. I see that, yeah, pretty much everyone is here. I'm going to stop talking to further delay us anymore. And again, thank you so much for volunteering to speak today and taking time out of your schedule to speak with us about how to drive sales through great email content. And again, let us know where you're from. Let us know your business name and your name as well, and what you're excited about learning in today's webinar as well.
Jeffrey, I lost you. Yeah, Jeffrey, same for me. I was wondering if it's just my issue, but I somehow lost your sound. Okay, so let's hope that Jeffrey's coming back, and I'll wait until he's...
Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay. No, I was just saying whenever you are ready, go ahead and...
Yeah, I think I'm ready. So I'll start. So yeah, thanks a lot, Jeffrey, for this wonderful introduction. And thanks for everybody for taking your time to participate in this webinar. I'll talk about the examples about email content and how to grow email with that. First, let me just say a few words about myself. So as a brief intro about myself and about Manifold. So Manifold is the agency that I run. We are pure play, so we just do email. We have been doing that for the last 6 years, so I think I'm a bit of a veteran of the industry, and I have the scars to show for it. We are, and we have always been fully remote, so we've never had an office. I'm sitting here at home. So I'm based in Israel, and that's obviously a little bit of a stressful place to be right now. But thankfully, I'm in central Israel, so we're pretty safe, I suppose, or at least we have been so far. Obviously, there's a lot of tragedy happening in this country right now, but let's hope that we will not be interrupted by air raid sirens, and that's not what we're going to talk about today. So we are a distributed team that works in a number. Yeah, thanks a lot. In a number of locations. We have the team members in the Netherlands, in Spain, in Canada. I forgot to mention we have a team member in Morocco. We work all over. Our client base is kind of shifting. So we have clients in US, in Europe. We have now a great client in Dubai, in UAE. We still have some clients in Russia. So as you may have guessed by my name, I'm a Russian Israeli. And actually, a couple of examples today will be in the Russian language because we've done business there. We over the years we've worked. So we've just counted. We've had 76 clients, and like any agency, we have a standard graveyard of logos that are kind of well known. I will talk about Papa John's today, actually, but actually most of our email marketing work was with mid-sized businesses, and I think that's probably where most of you are from. That's my guess. And I will talk a bit about the challenges of email marketing at a mid-sized business. And again, in thanking Sellsy for invitation, I should also make a full disclosure that the agency was founded in 2017. But I'm actually in email marketing since 2015 because I used to work for Sellsy for a couple of years. I'm great friends with them. We run a lot of projects on Sellsy. It's a great platform that everybody should try out. So with that, let's get to the topic at hand. What are we talking about today? We're talking about growing sales. I think that's what every one of us is interested in. And I think if you look at this high level, they're really there's a right brain of looking at this, and right brain, I think, is emotional, and a left brain, which is rational and technical. And we need both the rational and the emotional sides of the equation to have a great email program to have sales ultimately. And I am a mathematician by education, and I'm technical by background, which means that I can talk about strategy and technology all day. So this left brain part. I can talk about platforms. I can talk about A/B testing. I can talk about KPIs. I can talk about integration. So I like this stuff, and there's really a lot that can be said about it. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. I really wanted to talk, and we discussed this with Sellsy, about the right brain, about the good copy and good design and overall a good composition of email, and how that will improve your business and your business results. And the case studies will focus on that. I think the case studies are interesting by themselves, but also I wanted to go a little bit counter to the trend, because I think everybody is now talking about data, right? So data-driven, AI, data science, these are the kind of buzzwords that are everywhere, and platforms tend to prioritize that. So there's a lot of conversation about improving your email sales with data, with strategy, and with technology. And I think this kind of soft KPI, the design and content, begins to become a little bit overlooked, which is obviously not right. And that's the reason that I wanted to focus on that today. Right, so with that, let's go to the case studies. And actually, after I put together these slides, I thought of an idea to have like a one-word name for them. So there will be the case studies of vindication, elevation, dedication, and education. Right, that's just a few buzzwords. So let's go with that. And the first one is about Oh, sorry. Before I go to that, I forgot that I have this question that I want to ask you. Here's the question. If you think about your emails, so that's a question to the participants. How great are they? What do you think? So here's what I think. Here's my request. Think about the best emails in your industry, something that your competitors or your partners, something they are producing, and give them a 10. And then think about your emails on average. What kind of grade would you give them? Would you give them a 7, a 5, a 1? So please put that in the chat. Just a number and maybe a comment. Why do you feel this way? Is it a 10? Is it a 7? Just grade the creative quality of your emails. Okay, yeah, thanks. I see the first 4 out of 10. Okay, thanks. Yeah, please, everybody, keep answering. And while the answers are coming, I just wanted to comment that really there is competition for the inbox because email keeps growing, right? Everybody keeps saying email is dead, and this is a bit of a meme in the email marketing community. I think 5 years ago, there was an agency or a platform that was distributing T-shirts saying email is dead at a conference, because we keep hearing that email is dead certainly since 2015 when I came into this area. I think it's been older. Everybody's saying that people will go to messaging, but it's not. So because we see the volumes of email are growing, and yes, we are all somewhat overloaded. We're getting 140 emails per day, but that's actually an indication that people do read email. And there was a research saying that young people, they don't use much email before they go into the workforce, but they become just as active as everyone else once they get a job. So people read email, so email is important, and there is competition, right? So this 10 points competitor that you just thought of, his emails are in the inbox of your clients next to yours. So think about this from the perspective of the client. The client has limited attention span, so he has to make a choice. So that is the reason that while we're talking about the great creative part, right? The great copy and design and the tricks like the animation or automated timers or A&P emails. So thanks. I see a 5, a 6, and a 4. Thanks very much. We'll come back to some of the reasons, I think, for what's holding people back in building great emails by the end. Right. I jumped the gun a little bit in the previous slide. Before I go into the cases. Like I said, we're talking about the right brain, the emotional side of the story, but it's not just giving us a nice feeling when we build great emails. The whole idea is that this emotional engagement, the right brain side of the equation, it's actually driving sales, it's driving hard KPIs. And just to stop on this for a second, what is the short-term impact? You can actually see a great email just by looking at the numbers in the report. So what you see is you see usually a better click rate, right? So you do not see an open rate straight away because that is impacted by the attitude of the clients towards your brand, towards your emails in general. But you will see a better click rate and everything that's downstream from there, right? So revenue per email and unsubscribes. But like everything in life, you need to practice this great email production consistently. You need to go to the gym every day to get results from a gym. And in the same way, you need to build your emails with great quality every day. Every emails need to be great. And then you will see this kind of long-term impact. And then you will see improved open rates as clients begin to expect better emails from you, and everything that goes downstream from open rates. You will see customer engagement, you will see retention, so people keep buying from you, people keep opening your emails all the time, and then the financial metrics like LTV and ultimately the revenue. All that is what you will see. And there's something that I will point out in the case studies, that actually this impact, the long-term impact, it takes some time. It takes sometimes a few weeks, sometimes a few months. I will talk about that. So really, if you're not running your own business, and if you're thinking about investing into the better quality of email from the perspective of design and copy, then you need to be patient yourself and probably need to prepare your bosses that it will take a little while for the KPIs to materialize, right? So it's not an instant success. This takes a while. So with that, let's go to the case study number one, and it's a case of Papa John's. The Papa John's, probably the logo looks familiar to some of you. That's the Russian writing of the Papa John's logo. So this was a project in Russia that we've done a couple of years back. And really, this is my favorite example of how email creative, how the design and the copy, such as it is, are improving revenue. And this is what I call vindication. And why do I call it that? Well, because actually we saw the marketing team of Papa John's Russia boast that they don't need design. They actually spoke at conferences explaining how effective their email marketing is. And they were showing decent revenue, decent ROI. And they were actually showing very, very basic emails. It was like night and day from this. This is obviously an example of our creative, of our design. But they were showing very, very basic design, just a red hero banner, a pizza, and a promo code with an amount. So it was like ridiculously basic. But they were proud of that. And it was a difficult conversation with them at first. But in the end, we convinced them that actually, let's try something new with the creative, something new with the design. And this is obviously one screen of something we came up for them with. This was, we had a whole series with famous artists. This is a Malevich painting interpreted in the shape of a promo for a pizza. We had Michelangelo, we had Van Gogh, and a couple of other artists. Actually, this was a bit of a challenge because we had to work with the legal to make sure that we actually have the right to use them. But we got it all cleared. We did have this right because it was sufficiently changed, sufficiently adapted. So anyway, this is the setup, right? In the beginning, very basic design and a resistant team on the client side saying, we are good as it is. And there we are with our idea of let's build a good design. And actually, it was not an instant win. So it took a little while for us to demonstrate that this drives revenue. But in the end, oh boy, did it drive revenue. And let me go to the details, how they do that. So here are some figures for Papa John's Russia. So the core KPI that they were looking at is the email revenue share, and they had it at 3%. The open rate was at 10%, which they thought was not too bad. And they were also, one of the things that they were proud of and that they were proudly saying during their conferences is that they had a very low cost production because there was no design to speak of. So they had one designer working this and a marketer who was sharing email marketing duties with other team members. So it was a low cost production, and the ROI they calculated was 440%. Seems decent, seems okay, but we saw ways to improve that. So let me talk for a second about Business Insight. So we discovered that about 80% of their buyers are young, so under 25, and there was a lot of spontaneous purchasing. So it's basically young people, urban, hanging out, either studying or working, and they would go either with their colleagues or with their friends to buy a pizza or order a pizza to the office. So from the perspective of an email marketing, this is greater. Really, spontaneous purchase is what we're after. So this is what we targeted. We wanted to make the copy and the design exciting, and we saw that the young segments were responding very well to this. So yeah, the main thing was this creative concept, and the artist series was just one of them. We had several others. We've stopped sending promos in every email, so we've come to a mix of promo and featured emails, and we've segmented the customer list into the individual clients, the family clients, the families who were mostly ordering pizza in the evening, and office orders. So office orders are usually delivery, and they're the biggest. So yeah, like I said, in the first 2 weeks, actually, we didn't see much of a good result. So the KPIs were jumping up and down. So it was not very clear. And actually, we didn't get an okay from the team because they were very much invested in their old concept to switch to the new creative concept straight away. So the old team kept sending these basic emails, and we were sending our emails to a test group. And the first couple of weeks, it was actually not clear who's going to win. But in the end, after about a month, it was clear that we are winning. So our approach is winning. So then they stopped building these old basic emails. And then in the second month, it just shot up. Nobody expected that. Basically, the list didn't grow very much, but the revenue grew in the end fivefold. So really, we saw a great increase in click-through, and in the end, everything downstream down to the purchase grew basically fivefold. And what's interesting about this case is that actually the production cost increased because obviously we had our own cost and we charged that to the client, so it increased more than twice. But ROI increased even more. So we calculated that in the end, ROI was 900%. So that is kind of my favorite example. Because it's my favorite, it's obviously the one that best illustrates this idea. But that's like one way of saying like when the creative, the design and the copy, mostly the design, improve the email outcome, even against the expectation of the initial expectation of the client. So, like I said, I call this vindication, because obviously the client was happy, but we were happy that we were right. Good design actually matters. So, take a sip. This is a second case study, and I'm calling this Elevation, and it's completely different. So it's a mid-sized software development company. It's called PerWeb. So these are really technical guys. So just a minute to talk about their business model. What they do is they develop MVPs. So MVP is a software product. It's called the minimal viable product. So what this is when somebody wants to begin a startup, but they don't want to invest in hiring a whole team, they may hire PerWeb, for example, to build an MVP for them, and they will test the market with it. And if there is sufficient demand, then they will start hiring a team and probably raise an investment round, like a seed round, for their startup business. So that's the business model. And this was a team of, I think, 40, maybe 50. They were growing at the time, 40, maybe 50 people, and they're really, really technical. So they liked React. So React is, it's a software development platform, framework, I think they call it. And they liked talking about it. And even their emails were about React. So actually, they've had some email marketing before we came on board, but it was mostly about their process, how they're doing it, and React was mentioned quite often there. So the challenge they came to us with was they thought they're kind of running out of ideas, because there's only so much that you can talk about in describing your approach, in describing your technology. And we came up with a strategy of, really, we found what they can talk about. And what they can talk about is design. So somehow they were a little bit too shy about showing the design of their application, because they didn't want to be perceived as designers, although design is very important for an MVP. And obviously this is a B2B, so a case study is very important for a B2B. Somehow they didn't consistently include that in their email strategy before. And basically our conversation was that, look guys, you may think that you don't have nothing to write about, but we look at your business and we see quite a bit to write about. And basically we were saying, don't be so shy. And if you look at this, they had a relatively small list. So they were going around conferences, basically the startup people conferences, and they were collecting contacts. But before, they were sending basically one campaign per month. It was not regular, but basically one campaign per month. And in the end, they had about 1% conversion to calls. It's actually not a call. It's not like somebody picking up the phone. It's a Calendly meeting. But it was 1% from the emails. And with the insight that their products are powerfully visual and that they have nice case studies, we've increased the frequency and changed the tone of voice and the content to reflect our ideas. And in the end, we've improved the conversion to calls. But probably the most important factor here was that we just sent more emails. So we found the content that was interesting to the target audience, was interesting to the list. And in the end, they were getting 20 to 25 meetings in Calendly per month. And it's always difficult to attribute a specific deal to one channel. So we cannot precisely say that they won this many deals just from email. But basically the understanding is that 2-3 deals per month would come from these conversations that were initiated from the email campaign. So again, I think this is a story that I call elevation. So we've elevated their voice. And really the main idea here is that there's stuff to talk about. And don't be shy, and you can find your voice, and it will be interesting to your clients. This is another one of my favorite examples. This is where I'm from. So this is an Israeli company. Let me talk a little bit about the business model. So it's called Lev Haolam. In Hebrew, this means the heart of the world. And it's a subscription e-commerce business. What this means is if you become their subscriber, you pay, I think, $99 per month, and you receive a surprise box every month. And in this surprise box, you will find handmade products from Israel of various kinds. There's olive oil, there's wine, there's some canned foods, there's cosmetics, there's jewelry, there's some ceramics. But the idea is that it's not just very high quality. And if I jump in here, so I'm a patriot of Israel in that way. We have these great traditions in handmade products, and the food here is pretty amazing. But what they were offering is more than just these nice products from Israel to people outside Israel. They were offering a story. So the story is that most of these small productions, small factories are either in the settlements or in the kibbutz, also for small farmers settlements. So basically, the idea that Lev Odam is promoting is that this is for those who support Israel and support the people of Israel. It's obviously not for everybody, but there's a large audience of people in the world and a large segment of people in the United States who were very much supporting the idea. And it's actually the minority of them is Jewish. Mostly it's a Christian audience. Yeah, that is the story of the business. Now, what we've changed, we've come on board and we saw that they have a great concept in the business, and the idea is great, and they promote it in a very attractive way to their target audience. But emails are lagging behind a little bit in communicating this idea. So the emails were mostly promo, so basically saying that it's this many % off today. And emails really didn't do justice to the idea, to the product, and to the makers. And in the end, the concept that we came up with is maybe counterintuitive. So the concept was that we wanted to write long emails. So what you see here, this is a screenshot of one email. It's obviously a small screenshot, but the email is pretty long. It's maybe 4 or 5 screens. We wrote entire stories. So we wrote stories about the people who produce these goods, the background of the business. There's lots of personal stories, like people were telling how they've built their farm where they produce this olive oil, the family challenges they had to overcome, the difficult life in a kibbutz or in settlements. So lots of personal stories. And yeah, that was the concept that we suggested and the client accepted. And yeah, here's the KPIs. Basically, the click-through improved. So we saw after about 4 months that the list didn't change very much. So they did not grow their list very fast. But these stories were very well accepted by the audience. So people were reading them, and they were spending a lot of time in these emails, and they were clicking them. And I think that's kind of counterintuitive, because we are now often told that we live in this Instagram world where you need to have like 2 or 3 lines of text and a call to action, and nobody has any attention. Nobody has an attention span to really read your long stories. But actually, if the audience feels like it, then they would read 3 or 4 screens of rather extended text with a story. So for an appropriate audience, that actually works, and this worked for this client, and we are very proud to have worked with them, and we increased their KPIs. Yeah, just a couple of words about how they measure it. So their average lifetime is about 10 months. And like I said, it's $99. So the LTV per client is about $1,000. So this means that one conversion equals $1,000. And in the beginning, we had, they had like 9 or 10 conversions from one campaign, which would generally run once per week. And by the end, we would see like 20, 22 conversions from one email. It's a mid-sized business, maybe a small business. So for them, this is a rather large revenue jump. So this was my third case, and now to my fourth case. This is medicinal shampoo. And so what is medicinal shampoo? That's shampoo that helps treating the conditions of the hair and the scalp. And yeah, I call this series education. And the reason is that we found a segment that needed different content, and the segment needed educational content. So this company, Perfler, that they were actually doing pretty well. They had nicely designed emails, and they had reasonable ROI on their email marketing program. But when we've come on board, we've discovered, so we've improved the design a little bit. So there was some improvement in the general segment. We've discovered something that they didn't pay much attention to. And that is that they had a professional segment. So the professional segment is people who don't buy the shampoo for themselves, but people who work in the salons, so professionals at the salons, who buy it to offer services to the salon's clients. And it was somehow, there was a different department working with them at Perflow, but we thought, why not include them in email marketing, because the numbers are still rather decent. And yeah, the results were very good, because it turned out that they buy a lot, right? So when they become convinced, they actually buy a lot, because they don't buy it just for themselves, they buy it for their clients. And the reason that I included this example here when talking about the copy and the design is that really their attitude towards the product and the questions and their mindset, that's all completely different, because these are not the people who care about their looks and their health. For them, it's a business line, so they want to know about the risks. They need education to be able to use the product correctly. So this is, for them, it's really like a business line. So we've changed the design, the copy. So really, we were building completely different series of emails for them, and most of the growth was coming from the segment. So yeah, again, this is a case of using a language and a design that responds to the needs and to the perception of the target audience, or as in this case, to a segment of the target audience. So that was my just a couple of words about the KPI. Yeah, we actually didn't change that much, except for adding this new segment. We've improved the design a bit, but the main thing was this adding on of a new segment, and this was a relatively small effort that resulted in 90% growth of email revenue, which I thought was pretty good. So yeah, the uptake here is that the different content works for different client segments. So coming back to the question of great emails, can everybody do that? So let me take a sip of water and take a look at the answers that that are in the chat. So Angela put a 4 and Rose put a 5. Okay. Yeah, thanks very much for your answers. And that is generally the kind of answer that I'm getting. Let me share a couple of thoughts of why I think this is happening. And please comment if you agree or disagree with me, if this kind of resonates with you. So I think really the main thing why companies don't build emails that are as great as they would like them to be, that are not tense, that it's not high enough priority. So email is usually one of the big channels, so it delivers a lot of revenue, but it's never number one, or very rarely it is number one. So it's usually number 2, 3, sometimes 4. So it's often priority number 3 or 4, and everything else flows from there. So not enough time is dedicated to it, and sometimes marketing people in the marketing team are asked to do this work when they don't have enough skills and experience. And I wanted to be very, very clear here that I don't mean any disrespect to people who do this. Actually, anybody who's building emails is my personal hero and our heroes. We know that it's hard, and it's a lot of work. It's pretty complicated work, but it is hard work. So the more experience you have, the more kind of battle scars you have accumulated over the years, the better you become. And one of the consequences of a low priority is that often people have to do this who didn't have that much time doing it. And I think psychologically, that's kind of pitfall that we're falling into, or some companies fall into, is that it looks pretty simple, right? So we all send 5, 10, 15 emails per day. And it seems that it's not really that hard to send an email, right? So if you can sit at a Gmail and type away an email and attach a file, why can't you sit down at MailChimp and compose an email and add an image and just click send? It looks like almost the same thing. But that's deceptive, obviously, because if you look at the real process, building a good email, is comparable by effort to building a web page. And nobody really tells a person in the marketing team, a colleague on the marketing team, that you should build a couple of web pages today using whatever tools you have at your disposal, right? That's just not how it's done. So because it looks simple, it looks simpler than building web pages. Sometimes companies just don't have enough resources to do this at a level 10. So yeah, I think the upshot here is that you do need people and teams with experience to build these 10-point emails, and these are usually professional email marketers who have had lots of experience and know what works and what doesn't. And yeah, at this point, obviously I wanted to say a few words about how we do that. So the people who are these professional email marketers, obviously there's a choice of three categories, right? There's the onboard team, so in-house email marketing team, and there are freelance experts, and there are agencies. So I know great experts in each one of these categories, but I'm probably more qualified to talk about agencies. So let me talk about agencies and specifically how we work, to give you an idea of what it feels like and what is the experience of working with an agency such as ourselves. So what do? There's a bullet list, and I will go bottom to top. Email production. That's kind of the main thing that we think about when we think about doing emails. So this is when we do the copywriting, the design, the coding, and the actual loading into the email platform and sending. Well, very quickly when you start doing this, you realize that the job of the email marketer isn't just that, because you do this production and then you want to see the results and see and understand the results and report the results. So then you come to the second point in this bullet list, second from below. There's analytics. And actually, there's quite a lot of work to be done already on this level. So you need to analyze the behavior analytics, so the open rates, the click rates, the unsubscribes, and so on. But then if you cross this analytics with your commercial analytics, so the Google Analytics, the e-commerce data, then you get lots of data such as sales per 1,000 emails, and there's actually lots of analysis to be done. So this can be a rather challenging subject. And then you begin experimenting with A/B tests. So actually this is already this becomes pretty complicated work. And yeah, this is a significant part of what we do as an agency. Already this is what I think in-house teams at most mid-sized businesses generally don't have the resources to do enough A/B tests. So this is number two. So then the email channel management is when we begin to play the role of a manager for the client. So we take responsibility for driving the business KPIs and the business results by using email, rather than just doing emails when the purchasing manager, the hiring manager at the company asks us to. And finally, the strategy, that's something that we do usually at the start of the project. When a business needs to catch up to the leaders, usually you need to sit in the focused manner and to see what the competition is doing and to plan out your roadmap for the 12 or 18 months. And we do this as a project. And this helps the business then to catch up with the competition quicker than just by doing these things step by step. So I'm coming to the end, just a couple of minutes. To those who answered in the chat that they don't have a 10 and they have a little bit less, often the question that I'm hearing in this situation is, okay, Vasily, this is all very nice and interesting, but where do we start? And it's actually a pretty complicated question because different companies have different barriers to to obtaining great results. So we sometimes talk to clients and find some people have not enough people. Some people forget to grow their list. Some businesses don't do automation for some reason, for example, because their platform doesn't allow it. So this is a legitimately complicated question. And the idea that I have and the offer that I think we wanted to propose together with Celsi is this: we've had lots of experience diagnosing such situations, and this is what I'm proposing. I'm proposing let's do a consultation. It's a 30-minute consultation with me, and we'll talk about the KPIs that you have. We'll talk in detail why you think your emails are 5 or 6 and not 8, 10. And I will help you map out the strengths and weaknesses and map out a high-level action plan for growing your email marketing revenue. Obviously, we will be happy to continue the conversation afterwards as an agency, but this is free of any commitment. So this is just a conversation and a plan, and everything else is then up to you. So with that, I think I'm finishing. I'm basically out of time. And so Jeffrey, do I go to the Q&A now?
Yes, and you can hear me, correct?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, we can go ahead and jump over to the Q&A. So a question from VS. VS asked, most companies I know choose to hire an email marketer rather than an agency. And I feel like you maybe went over a little bit of this, but I would also love to hear this as well. But perhaps they know what they're doing. What's the advantage of hiring an agency versus an in-house email marketer?
Yeah, thanks very much for that question. I hear that quite a lot. So yeah, what are the advantages? Let me see. First of all, there's the matter of costs, right? So normally there are reviews published of salaries of email marketers. In most cases, if you don't have an email marketing expert on your team already, it's going to cost you more to hire such a person. It's a straightforward cost-benefit analysis. But actually, that's not the whole story, because there's actually a division of labor in the email marketing teams. So once you really begin to get into it, so our process has several roles, and really they cannot be replaced with each other. So we have the email marketers, we have the designers, we have the coders, we have the copywriters, and we have the engineers. We have a deliverability expert who supports all of them. And really, it's very difficult to transfer these skills from one person to another. So somebody who's world-class at designing, and so especially if your design is in a specific niche. So we've had people who designed like a design for food is a very specific skill. But that person is generally not going to be a great deliverability expert, and he will not know how to integrate systems very well. So actually, you need more roles than just one. And then you have the issue of people go on vacations, people sometimes get ill, people sometimes quit, and we actually see this sometimes. I mentioned this as one of the issues. We come analyzing the client business, and we look at the frequency of email sends, and there's like a big gap, like a couple of months, and we were asking guys what happened. Oh, our guy quit and we didn't find a new one. And that's understandable, but your clients really don't care so much for that. So you need to continue your email communications. So you need somebody on the team at all times. So this is where having a team is beneficial versus having an employee, having an in-house expert.
Mm. I there's another question related similar to that from Angela, and I also have a question of my own as well. But Angela asks, some freelancers on Upwork are offering to build our email templates for $50 per template. I asked a couple of email agencies and they're asking for a retainer of $2,000 as a minimum. Isn't it better to hire a freelancer? How are you different from a freelancer?
Great questions. Thanks, Angela. So, we sometimes do get compared to freelancers, and I think actually part of the answer, if I may scroll back to one of my previous slides, part of the answer is here. So usually when a freelance expert offers his or her services to you, it's mostly in the area of email production. And it's so the copy and design and coding. The quality varies. Some of it is very good, some of it is not as good. I would say that we've actually just recently completed an analysis, and we've discovered that an average email for us takes 10 hours of work just from the email marketing person, not counting the design and the copywriting. So that's coming up with a concept, approving it with the client, making sure that the copy and the design and the code all reflect this concept. So you can imagine it's pretty difficult to fit 10 hours of qualified work in $50. So some freelance experts manage to do that, and I'm very happy for those who build relationships with such experts, but I don't think that works every time.
Very true. And I love how that was put as well. We have a question from Rose, and then I want to ask my question, I promise. Rose asks, I'm not fully experienced as an email marketer. As you've mentioned, though, I'm currently running our email campaigns for the mediation company I work for. We currently send the same email to our audience, and I was wondering what a best way to segment our audience based on their interest. That's a good question.
Yeah, thanks, Rose, very much. And yeah, I'll try to answer based on the information I have, which is not quite a lot. So usually in the working situation, I will go with Rose into the investigation of what is the customer persona. We like to actually, draw a portrait of a customer persona and we understand how is one person different from another, and also how the stage they're in is different. So if it's a meditation, it could be somebody who's well familiar with meditation and somebody who isn't yet, and they need to be talked to differently, even though the second person may become the first person after a year or so. So, but yeah, I think the short answer is research and try to research your clients, understand what drives them. And another advice I would have is write out, pen and paper or in a file, what is the objective of the email, what is the main idea, and what is the call to action. That for me, this exercise was always very useful, because if you begin writing copy for the email, you get involved in the details. And sometimes when I begin writing this out, I step away, I pour myself a cup of coffee, and I go back and I see, really, this person doesn't need this call to action. This is not going to work for him or her. Before I write any copy, sometimes, just writing this out, we call this the concept of the email, that is useful in making sure that your emails are on point and they really work for the customers.
Thank you for that. Hey, I always, like, you were talking a little bit earlier about segmentation, and you were asking the one company about what they actually wanted to talk about. So, and sometimes that relates more to their audience, like more of their common interests sometimes, and how you're talking about coming out with a persona. Um, One part that I really loved, I'm very much into social media as far as like long form and short form. One question I did have is you mentioned recently about the email that was like a very long email, a little bit longer form content. And one of the sides you're like sometimes, well, most of the time our readers want that short, punchy, get to the point content. Um, in what way and what other examples could we see that long form content email could work for a business?
Um, let me try to answer. I think my first kind of impulse is to say I don't know, but maybe I have a couple of examples in my head. So yeah, one idea would be like what this company Lev Haolam, this Israeli company,
Hmm.
what makes them special is that really they have this idea behind them.
Hmm.
They're really not selling as much of a product, but more of it's almost like a movement.
Mm.
And if you see that your business or the business of our client in that case has this aspect that its clients are actually very involved emotionally, um, or maybe rationally, or maybe both, then such people they identify with the cause and they will be prepared to invest their time to read it and also to share it. So then it pays off to invest in great content. It may be long. So that will be one example. And another example, it's usually not businesses, it's usually like the influencers and the experts. But like if some well-known digital marketer or an expert in any field actually would have a newsletter, so usually these are like newsletter runners, they could write very long form content. And usually people who subscribe to them on Substack or just on their website, they've subscribed willingly to read this content. So for them, the product is the content. So then there's no problem in not being short and punchy because people actually expect to read through this content. That's why they subscribe in the first place.
Okay. No, that answers my question. And I just know like with the big trend right now of everything going on, it's it's something that I did want to like ask and be like, like when can long form content kind of like punch into when an email is getting ready. So I know we have about like 2 more minutes. This has been like a very great discussion. It's been very interactive. Vizio, thank you so much. Like, thank you. Um, Seriously, like everything that you've talked about today has been so spot on. It's been very relevant. It's been engaging. The case studies were just amazing. Um, my favorite was the Papa John's. I'm not gonna lie. One, yes, it's around lunchtime my time, but also because I think it's just beautiful how just changing the design and like doing a survey and figuring out more about the customers is what also helped kind of see these results and y'all learning a little bit more about what works and what doesn't work. I think that's a big thing. Um, Really quick, and we're essentially have like a few seconds, but um, Selzy, this is why you probably got the email. You're invited here today. But really quick, if you're looking for a way to make sure that you're changing your email, your starting out email, um, these are 4 reasons why you really just should not look any further. But this is something that you should definitely give a try. It's very user friendly, coming from someone that doesn't. I use email, but was not there on the technical email side. It's affordable. It's not going to break your bank. It's not going to do anything to make a big commitment. The customer support is A plus, top notch, and it's detailed analytics. I think that's one thing that I love that we talked about in today's webinar is you kind of have to test things out, but you also have to look at like what you're doing too. You can't just fly on the seat of things like, oh, this worked, I'm going to keep on moving on, or this didn't work, I'm going to keep on moving on. I don't want to look back. So those are some things that you definitely should look at as well, is like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And that's in the detailed analytics, what tells you. So it's really great that you're able to use this and really make the most of it. Like I said, helping optimize your program so they're user friendly in that sense, helping out with optimization. Um, we're going to a sense of where a lot of things are automated. So it helps that some of these things are automated, whether that's an automated campaign that's already able to come out for you and you just have to fill in a few things. And it's also there to collect feedback. Can't learn if you don't know about it. So helping with getting those detailed analytics for you. And when you're looking for integrations, these are where it's easily integrated into and a way that you can access this. And I'm going to get there, Angela. So Angela said, how can I try it? Angela, if you get your phone out, you scan this barcode on either sense. You can try this out for free, as you see on my left-hand side, and then seeking assistance. This is another way. So easily get out your phone. And Julia, my teammate, just also put in the Sellsy website here for free too. So just some easy ways that you're able to try it out, get some assistance. Julia put that amazing website in there. But I also want to give a huge thank you to our speaker today. Give him a round of applause. Thank you so much, especially in this time. Like, we just ask that you be safe, and thank you again from Sellsy to us. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time today.
Yeah, Jeffrey, thanks very much, and thanks to everybody at Sellsy. If I may add just 1 second, do try out Sellsy. We've been working with it for 6 years, and really the product is amazing, and the support, you will never find such support as Sellsy has. It's just amazing. Just do give it a try.
There you go. You can't have it then anything like that. So thank you for the testimonial. Thank you for the amazing knowledge and tips and amazing case studies. We just, again, really appreciate you. And again, we appreciate all of you that attended. Thank you so much to everyone today. Have a great Tuesday wherever you are. Good evening to some, good afternoon to others, and we'll see you here next time. Thanks, everyone.